There's no better place to be than being on your number one channel, Eswatini TV. Head and welcome as we bring you live Temidlalo, the first Monday of the month of November, the year is 2020. Of course, sporting activities now are on a course. Over the weekend, of course, we witnessed a major tournament under the Athletics Association where they were having their national championships, where a lot took place. We talk about food trucks, we talk about all the activities that were happening over the weekend. We take a major discussion into that, where we have a special guest, of course, coming from the Athletic Association of Eswatini, a senior official, of course, to give us more details about what happened on the day and where we are standing as a country. Otherwise, Linda Dlamini, our in-house analyst, later on will also come in, where we will dwell as well once again on the national championships to say we've talked about some of the specific sporting codes that are on a success in the country. We talk about golf, we talk about your tennis and athletics. I would say it's one sport that has shown that it is on the course, of course, to rise. Of course, it was a beautiful event, of course, in the presence of the Honorable Minister Harris Matse Pulunga, who was there, of course, to be part of the occasion. Otherwise, we'll move on, also touch on the women program leadership, having known that the Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council is working tirelessly to try and improve the standard of women involvement in the sport, where they were launching commissions and everything. There was a program leadership over the weekend, so we also get to hear what was the discussion over that. Talking about women, there is one specific woman in this country who is making the country so proud. There is the only one we know, you and I, that is Nobuhle Dlamini, after winning the Swazi Investic Open this past weekend. Not winning per se, but going on the top rank, number 3, where she walked away with 30,000 emalanga. Now, we'll also get into the details a bit to tell you how now she has become a millionaire. Yes, you've heard it right. Nobuhle Dlamini is a millionaire. 67 above those games. He's just, since she turned professional, she's been winning games. We touch on that and where she's heading in her career, and all those coming to you live on Eswatini TV, your number one channel. Do not hesitate, of course, to stay put. A lot to be discussed tonight and on this show. Now, if you joined us on YouTube channel, of course, do not forget to subscribe to make sure that you're always part of this program. Otherwise, before we get into anything, before I introduce the guest of this night and this show, we take a look at what was happening over the weekend, especially on Saturday at Mavuso Sports Center during the national championships. Take a look at this.
DJ, yonakala manje. Yamadoda. Yamadoda. Yamadoda.
Beautiful stuff, of course, all the way from Eswatini TV. Sorry, there's nothing you've missed, of course, from the weekend. After watching that short insert, you just got everything. Of course, credit goes to our production team. Just a little bit of correction there on 800 meters. It's just 400 meters, not 800. Otherwise, beautiful stuff. And to show you that it's beautiful stuff, I'm already in the company of Toba Mazibo. He's the CEO, rather say, Secretary General of the Athletics Association. The comments he just made here in the studio to say, if someone missed the event on Saturday, you've seen everything.
Now Fabrice
What an event, Toba Nangbuga. The excitement. It's a pity because supporters, no matter the public, is not allowed to watch. But what an event! Of course, you could see Naskunmangama Athletics, Pumulid and Swaziport. They're always at the high. But seeing how the competition was, not only in track fields but also in other areas, long jump and everything, it was indeed a beautiful one.
Yeah, I think credit goes to the working committees that put this behind.
True.
The competitions committee, the TDC, even the medical committee, and the whole board as well. They were fully behind the event and they worked tirelessly. It was challenging considering the COVID. And the time that we had to prepare for the event was short, but we pulled it off and we delivered the wonderful event.
I was rushing into registration and looking into COVID and everything, and then I just saw a picture there to say, if you look at maybe the job on itself on the day, being there already early at 7 or 8 to make sure that everyone is registered, everyone is tested as a way to follow the rules and regulations on COVID. Tell us about that, how challenging it was and how complying were the athletes.
Yeah, maybe first of all, let me steal a moment and pass my gratitudes. First to the athletes.
True.
They were the centerpiece.
True.
Yeah. So we thank them and their clubs for doing all they could to make sure that they're there.
They're present.
Yeah, and also we also want to thank my stakeholders, Lamanye, that have been supporting us. If you look at our National Olympic Committee, IOCA, they have been there for us.
True.
And they've come through and as supporter. So we do want to pass our gratitudes to President Peter Shongwe with the CEO Sydney Similani. Even last year they also supported us.
They played a role, yes.
Once again they pulled through. There are also other stakeholders that supported us, and fortunately they don't want to be mentioned, so
True.
they gave us like water and things like that. So siyabonga kakhulu nakubo for coming through, and we also thank the Honorable Minister for gracing the event.
The presence, yes.
Yes, he was there and he stayed throughout.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was patient. The medal ceremony can be taxing, but he was
True.
patient. And
there he is on his arrival. I think from the pictures I'm looking at, he came early as possible, to make sure that he does watch everything that is taking place.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, we do want to thank the media as well. All the media houses. And today I'm really impressed with the stuff I'm seeing here from Eswatini TV.
Yes, now the camera is on you. Can you say it with the camera on? Because when you're saying it, the picture wasn't on you. What are you saying about Eswatini TV and the pictures on air?
No, I'm really impressed. That's marvelous stuff that you have shown. And like you captured the whole event.
Yes.
And the way you present it here, it's wonderful, lovely. So big up to Eswatini TV and your production team.
Wow. If you just joined us, I'll give you 5 organizations that Toba has thanked. He thanked athletes, he thanked sponsors, he thanked SOGA or EOGA, which is Eswatini Olympic Commonwealth Games Association, and the Ministry of Sports, specifically the Minister for Sports to be there on the day, and media, to be specific, Eswatini TV. That was the credit. Now, Toba, let's talk about the compliance. Were they already talking about on the day, the arrival of the athletes? How challenging it was knowing that it's the day where the athletes have to show everything. Wamenjan on the day itself.
On the day itself, it was smooth. We had to take extra precautions. We conducted
the lines. I can see the lines.
Yeah, you can see the lines. We conducted prior registration and then accreditation. People had to go through accreditation, and as you can see, there was the screening there, sanitizing and everything. So yeah, it took a lot of effort from our working team, the medical commission led by Dr. Zabengoni Mkajwa. They did a wonderful job as well to ensure that everyone was screened and everyone was safe. We also had to take extra precautions and get extra security on the day so that we ensure that we didn't have some people intruding. So everyone passed through the screening process. As you saw, even the minister went through the screening process as well.
Toba, I'll give you this because I've attended a couple of national championships. You talk about boxing, you talk about other events such as swimming and everything. I've not to say that they are not up to standard, but I've never seen them pulling as a big event as the way you have. And they are maybe yet to impress me because COVID is already here. But when you talk about now the event itself, let's go to the field events. You know, we look at the heats and look at the finals. When athletes came into the field on the day, I think for you as an association, you knew they would compete, but your expectation and your wishes were that they improve their personal best. And I think that's what happened to some of them.
Yes. Of course, that's what happened to some of the athletes. But I must say, COVID really did affect us, especially in the field events. Most of the athletes that we had, we didn't have the numbers that we wanted to have on the day, and also the standard, I would say, was a bit low than what we expected. But like I said, you know, field events are technical events. They do require a lot of preparation, and you can see that our athletes didn't get much chance to do enough preparation.
I have a challenge with this sport, Toba, because I feel like maybe there is more. If you look at also the high jump from the pictures, do we maybe have enough that is there into schools where these kids are coming from to make sure that they regularly practice? I'll give you an example. For track fits, in most cases, your Wednesdays, your Fridays, you always find kids competing on a daily basis. But do we have for the likes of long jumps daily or weekly activities to ensure that they take part?
It's one area that our technical and development committee is also working on. We do have like right now a youth development program. It's a regional program that we are rolling out. We started it in January, February, but because of COVID, then we had to stop. So what we're doing is going around all the regions and making sure that even such events, such as the field events, they get the attention they deserve. Yeah, so
Yes, I'm interested in the compliance here because I heard during the AGM that during long jumps, when an athlete jumps like that, how do you ensure that the safety, someone also can come and jump? The issue of COVID, was there a way maybe to try to say once you are from there, from the sand, we wipe you, we sanitize you to make sure that the next athlete doesn't get affected? Or it was just safe from that? You assured that once an athlete jumps into the sand, nothing much changes?
Yeah, as you can see there was nothing that much we could do, but all the athletes were sanitized before they participate. So, and every next coming athlete is also sanitized. So if you touch them with your hands, at least your hands have been sanitized. So
I think that's what's happening.
Yes. As you can see, yeah.
Let's look at now. We've just touched on high jump and long jump. Now, when you look at athletes here now, it's another sport I would say there's a lot to improve. There's a lot to work on. There's a lot to maybe to capacitate on our athlete. What's your reaction to javelin? What would you say about the athletes when it comes to this sport?
Javelin. It's first of all, javelin is one simple event that almost anyone could do. It's an easy event. Even without the proper implement, you take a stick, you can practice and start throwing. So I would encourage most people to take on this event and try, especially the young ones, to try it on. There's huge potential. We've seen the likes of Kenya coming up and winning medals, even in javelin throw. So the same could happen to us. But of course, we need the coaches as well to push the athletes for all this.
Because my worry, Trevor, not to try to maybe to take away from the focus, is to say, if you look at shot put, for instance, as we're watching now on the screen, I think when you talk about athletics, the viewer at home is like, Subsiso Matsenjwa and Pumbulen Ziniza. We're talking about track fit. Now, you maybe Bobo Tandazwane, they're now out of the picture, but now you've got also the Andy Lusing and 400 meters and everything. But when you talk about athletics, the first thing that comes in everyone's minds, it's Pumlida and Swaziport. So now, when you look at high jump, you look at long jump, you look at javelin, you look at shot put, all these, is the association working enough to ensure that maybe at some point we don't talk about 100 and 200 meters only? Once we talk about shot put, we know Banban Shongwe, he's there to represent us. Because I think this is the guy from Correctional, if I'm not mistaken. He's there to represent us. So how? Yes. So how are we working on ensuring that also this sport, they are on the rise like everyone, as like these track fields?
Okay, you mentioned like shot put. I was impressed on the female side. If you look at the performances that were there, throwing 19 or so meters, 18 or 19 somewhere there. Those are really like some good performances. So it does show that even on that side, we do have potential. You just need to have more of the athletes doing it from a younger age, and hopefully in the near future we'll have even shining stars there instead of only having the track. But it's common. The track events are more popular. That's why you would know of your Usain Bolts and your Wayne Van Keks, and forget about all those other guys that are there doing your field events. It's common. It happens all over that people are more attracted to the track events.
All right, there you have it. Now, Toba is not going anywhere. I just want us maybe to not give him, maybe the only one, so much time to express his desire or wishes or gratitude to whatever the association is doing. I want us also to just get a time and then listen to the athletes. At this point in time, I think we'll listen to field athletes interviews after they competed, what they think about their performance, what they think about the event, what they think about competing under the serious circumstances of COVID-19. Later on, of course, we'll touch on the track events, interviews, but for now, field interviews. Listen to this young and talented Maswati during the national championships.
Kona ngitiva ngijabulile but ke angajabuli lokujabulisa enough mina. Ngenda ngibe proud. Yes, akusele bengi-expect ukuthi ngayizuba because ngizube 1.6. I-height yami lengizubako ukuthi izuba 1.8. Ngicala 1.8 nje. Kuya etulu. Ukuthi ngizube nedi lokuthi nginenkinga ye-muscle pull. Namhla ngiko le performance yami ngathi be kanje. Ngithole igolide at the end of the day. Ngiyeva nginami nje ngemkhulu kakhulu ngalokho. Yes, thank you. Yes. Kakhulu nje bengathanda kubonga lo uzame kungijimisa even though kube sikhathi lesifisha. Ngithanda kubonga namake lo ze indzawo yababe Victor Shabangu lo sasishiyele emhlabeni kude akhona kungisupporta lo bekangisho ukuthi naye namhla ngabe ukhona. Le goal lena ngeyakhe I had to get it vele namuhla.
Ngidiva ngijabule kakhulu ukuthi yami ngikhonile kwendindolo engiyithandzako. Yabo. ngakhona futhi nekuphumelela kule nto lengiyithandizako kusho ukuthi vele le nto ikhona la kimi.
Competition wise kulama national chess macabanga ukuthi bekuleli zinga bocabanga ukuthi taba kiyo yini le competition namuhla.
Ifikile kuleyo zinga ngakwatholakala ukuthi cha bengijimile ngakhona kuthiwa ngikutholile.
Future plans on shot put?
Is to improve my skills, my energy, those things.
Uchige, your longest distance, what was the longest distance?
It was 7.8
meters.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful stuff, beautiful interviews. Do you not hesitate to stay with us because there's a lot to come from the athletes on the day. Now, Mr. Toba, of course, is still impressed with the work that is being done here at Eswatini TV. Once again, off record, he was saying, wow, beautiful stuff. I think he might come and, put a deposit for the package. I will tell you, it will be quite expensive, but we'll get you one. Now, you made a comment about the athletes, Toba, saying that maybe, especially first, let's start with Mr. Vilagat, who was doing the high jump. You were talking about the issue of maybe saying some of these athletes, they're still young, they're talking about how maybe their performance is a bit not where they want it to be. But are we saying that maybe from today, maybe from the national championships, you as an association, you will monitor their performance as they grow to reach where you want them to reach?
Of course, that's our mandate.
Because if you play national championships, sorry to cut you, then the athlete goes, sit at home, 6 months without practicing, comes another national championship. So is it a consistent thing you're going to work on as an association?
What we want to do is also to encourage athletes not to stay ugly. We know, especially on the track side, probably that was more or less the last event of the year. But we do want the athletes to stay active. As we know, we'll be having our World Junior Championships in Kenya next year. And we also have Olympics coming up in Tokyo. So there's a lot of preparation that has to keep on going. So athletes should not be discouraged. And I think our neighbors, South Africa, will be opening soon as well. And we have a very good relationship with the ASA.
To keep them.
Yes, so I can almost guarantee that we will be having invites to send athletes there to go and participate in preparation for all these international competitions that are coming. So I do want to encourage our athletes to really work hard. Not forgetting the other athletes on the longer distances, the road races. Also, the president has already tasked the TDC to look into how how we can go back to road running. Of course, considering all the safety precautions and
it's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy, but we'll work hard and work on it.
Yeah, time is against us, Toba. I want us to touch on now on track events a bit. I think that's where maybe the attention is mostly for the viewer to say when you talk about 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters, the most dominated ones, where we are mostly represented as a country. Now, this is where we have another problem. I think probably maybe we need to change, because I was there during the awards. Maybe this is 200 meters for male, if I'm not mistaken, but there are specific clubs that dominate. When you talk about 200, Subsiswa is from the police club, Eswatini police club. When you talk about Pumuli and Ziniza, it's from UEDF, Defense Force. When you talk about Bongio Mashalela, you talk about that's Pumuli and Ziniza. Talk about Bongio Mashalela, same thing from police club. Why are we having... We've had this issue in football. What is the association trying to ensure that even other clubs, not only these so-called forces, are also dominating? I'm not saying it's wrong for them to dominate, but what are we doing to ensure that if maybe Mbegi Semhlatane, who was there on the day in other event, number dominated Goma track fees, not only have Lama forces dominating?
We always preach professionalism and systematic working, even with the coaches. So all clubs should have proper structures in the sense that a club has coaches that are working with athletes daily. A club has a training venue where athletes are always training. So unless you have all these structures in place, those that have a bit of it will always dominate.
You are not expecting this field. You look at the speed of Pumlile. Were you impressed on the day, looking at the performance? And I think, not to say maybe her weight and everything, she looks a bit more, a bit of the size compared to others, but her speed, what do you think maybe has happened in her preparation to ensure that she maintains her speed? She might feel like she has dropped maybe, but her speed, she looks very perfect. What analysis can you give us?
Yeah, like you're saying, it probably goes to her training, what she has been doing. I think you rightly noted, I saw the performance on the 100 meters was much better than the performance on the 200, which shows that she has more of the speed and probably lacks a bit on the endurance part. And you mentioned the weight and things like that. Yeah, so it does show, but I'm sure the coaches are also working on that as well. They're working on that as well. But I think her main event for now is the 100 meters. So
she's
I
good.
think
She's good.
On the right track on that one.
Wow, beautiful stuff. Of course, as we keep on looking at now, I want us to jump on the 400 meters, where I think we have also another excellent athlete, Andile Senga, who surprisingly, when I was there during the awarding ceremony, when they say 400 meters, number one made, they called another name. And not to say that the name was called was wrong, but this athlete, and then I think when you look at Andile, because maybe compared to Pumlile and Swazipold, he's a bit younger. Not to say for them, I'm not revealing anyone's age, but I feel like maybe he's got a lot to prove and to show to us. What happened to him on the day? Apparently got disqualified. That's him in the middle in a white and black short. What happened on the day? Just give us a clue.
Yeah, Andile got a disqualification. Unfortunately, in sport is governed by rules. You break the rules. There's no way you can make it. So I think he has to learn, him and his coach as well.
I'm looking at his speed.
Rules are very important. You might work very hard, prepare yourself, but on the day, if you don't follow the rules, you have wasted all this preparations and stuff. So for him, it was a disqualification because he failed to show up for another event. He had registered for the 400 and the 200 and didn't show up in the 200. Once you do that, you're then disqualified for the rest of the year.
What does the section say? I don't want us maybe to quote the number, to say act number, what. Just briefly, what does the section say about that? Because I also followed him on social media. Not to say that I'm reporting to you as an association, but he was expressing his frustration to say apparently the day did not go according on social media. But what did you maybe to clear the air for his fans, and what do you think maybe he preached? Just give us a section.
Yeah. Maybe first of all, maybe I would say he did reach out to me. I think it was early today. He did say that he realizes his mistake and he will learn from the mistake, and he hopes this is something that will never happen again. That's I think a positive that shows that he has learned from what happened and it will not repeat itself. As for the rules and quoting the specific rules, then we would have to give that more to our referees and technical officials. Those are the ones that will quote for rule for rules.
But you're the CEO, you can give us the information. Now, Toba, time is against us. Where to from here? National championships are done. Where to from here? Athletes are getting ready. Some are getting ready for Olympics and everything. Where to from here? Any activity on your calendar moving forward?
Yes, as I said earlier on, TDC is already working on the road running events, and on the side we are working on preparing the teams for both the World Junior Championships and the Olympic Games. So we want to ensure that those athletes are well prepared. Our TDC will look at the results and put together now a team and the team, we expect the team to go on camp and start preparations.
Locally, any event local, that's international. Locally, beautiful stuff from Swaziland.
Local, yeah, like I'm saying, because of the COVID situation.
Yes.
And yeah, we also do want to thank the ministry for allowing us to
host this tournament
under this COVID situation. We thank them for that.
All right.
And I think we will try our best to take advantage of this opportunity that we have and prepare something for the other athletes.
They have it. Now, I've been wondering, since we're here in the studio, you've been mentioning the word TDC. I'm a person who normally, when I'm watching, I'm thinking, well, what is he referring to? Just give them a clear. What's TDC within?
TDC is Technical and Development Committee.
There you have it. Toba, as I let you leave the studio, we'll have also track feeds interviews where we'll have your Swazibot, Pumulile Nziniza, and Andy Lusing also expressing how the day went for them. Thank you very much for joining us, Toba. Okay. You're always a phone call away. Whenever we need you, we'll get more information on whatever that's going to happen next, and we're always appreciative for you to make it whenever we call you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eswatini TV. Keep up the good work.
There you have it. Toba is actually applauding the Eswatini TV sports team for the good job. Otherwise, take a look at those short interviews as a welcoming Mr. Linda Dlamini, our in-house analyst.
National champs this year. Ngideve kahle. Kwaze ngijime kahle. Nethi nje ngiyabona ukuthi hayi kukhona kumele ngikungethe after that for my next competition for 2021. Yeah, the performance yami angeke ngize ngikhale kangako. Ufuna improve le training yami. Ngibe ne more rest. Ngathini yeah, like respect everything ngiyendako with my program and my coach.
All the best, Shabana.
Thank you very much.
Watch out! Watch out! What was the plan? What was the plan? Let's go! Watch out!
I feel so great, so awesome. I wasn't hoping, like, you know, it's gonna be a great run after like having no time to train. Yes, so but I was able to put out a good show. Being a national champion is not easy. So yeah, I'm really much happy. I think I'll have to work on my endurance. Yeah, Lord, I think it's speeding me up. I was so focused on speed. Yeah, man, it's just like, you know, honestly, qualifying time, qualifying window actually opens 1 December 2020. So by then I think I'll be okay to actually compete at my best. It's not so easy though, but again, sengicedile egijimeni 200 meters. Ngawuthi ngihambe kahle. It's a good practice for next year. Kulungisela wona ema-Olympics. Definitely I'm happy because kuba banele ukudani bese ngakhona ukujima kahle. But nje ukhonile ukuthi uhulumende asivele ama-sports. So sakhona ukupractice and sagijima kahle lama-national today. Ngiyahamba nge-South Africa next week Sunday for a 5-month training camp, whereby I'll be training with the best athlete in South Africa. Ngilungisela wona lama-Olympics as well as ama-competition at abahostwa khona in South Africa. Ngeke ngithini. I think we're coming okay, except for the ladies, particularly abafana, because I was running with the youngsters here. If they can keep up, in the near future, they can catch up with me.
Beautiful stuff. As the three top athletes, of course, they express their gratitude. I can imagine what Tanda Eswatini right now is going through, thinking that he could be also be speaking right now during such a huge event. Already in the company of Nda Dlamini, nguvusele Nkosi.
Ngiyabonga Fabrice, ngiyabonga Sibalwami ngivusela ngomsombuluko ebusuku bese ngelokukhulu ukutithoba ngivusela imali viewers ekhaya.
Dlamini, what an event. I think last week I asked you what are your top how do I say this? Top sporting codes that are close to your heart. And I think this sport code was mentioned, athletics, the event, national championships. Historically, you have a history of following this event. Were you surprised with some of the results? Were you happy with what you saw? Were you impressed under the current conditions with Sibagijimeguna COVID?
In fact, Fabrice, I wasn't surprised. In Vunangabe uitanza, ngijabulile nangivathoba athi the standard besi low kancane, and ngicabanga ukuthi coming before the actual day lema championships, ngicabanga ukuthi bengipredict cishe onke lama results bengathi 100 meters sibuso utayawina, 200 utayawina, 400 if Thandaza bekakhona bekatayawina but Lusenga nakhona bekatayawina, but ngicabanga ukuthi vele letinye tinto predictable nawubuka nje ukuthi kuma ladies yena Phumlile Nzinisa vele umkatsile lokusi awine, but mina ngihlale ngisho ngiworried ngalesikhathi because isikhathi sawo most of the time nawubuka nje ukuthi Phumlile khona lapha ku 100 meters ushaya 12.05.
And I think we had an interview on a student Friday. He mentioned something about 11. She wanted to do 11, but she did 12.
Yeah. Lengicabanga ukuthi kuvele kumele ukuthi at least kube sikhuluma ngabo 11 point. Ngasiyasho ukuthi cha lesikhathi sisi-improve kakhulu. Naye Sibusiso for a very long time ngicabanga ukuthi solo uyadlala like sub 10 point. Kumele ngabe sodlala ku 9 point
or 8.7.
No, 8 ngeke. 9 point. Ngicabanga ukuthi ngiso isikhathi lesikahle leso at least kube sikhuluma nga 9:30 ngasiyeva ukuthi cha our top athletes vele ushaya sub 9 because in South Africa la sihlale si reference akhona uyakhona nje yale campaign ya 5 months uyodibana nabo akani zimbini wagijima about 3 wema events waba sasha 9 seconds, so uyabona ukuthi le improvement ikhona, but dinenge letinvo leccinga ukuthi
must have a problem because if you look at Phumlile, I mean, because this is a female, I don't want to use the word, that we sound different, but she looks fine. The body looks perfect. Maybe she has maybe added a bit of, how do I put this, weight? You know how the ladies are very sensitive with weight, so I don't want to use that. But we're talking about in the sport term to say the body looks a bit different from the last time we saw. So would you say her speed can be a bit low ngalendlela akiyo nyalo comfortably ngomteam noma nje ngokuthi akathilungiselele, because angifuna bese sekuthula ukuthi Phumlile maybe isikhathi sakhe asikho ngcono kwanyalo because of maybe the physicality yakhe. Uthini ngalenza?
Remember age is not on their side.
True.
Nawukhuluma ngaPhumlile ukhuluma ngaboSibusiso because since 2012 she's been our top athlete, and I like the way yena Phumlile Nzinisa lendanga, because an athlete Fabrice more especially lama sprinters kunendlela lama strides lawathatha ngayo, kunendlela even the upper body lenda ngayo her and Sibusiso ngicabanga ukuthi ukhona cishe kakhulu mehluko. Uyabona ukuthi labo sebasikhuluma ngama athletes la professional lendlela labashaya ngayo la personal lendlela la ngadula bendanga, but dinenge letingo letinga improve. Ngicabanga ukuthi yona athletic association singayishayela tandla vele kunenglela bakwenda kahle, but ikhona room of improvement.
Standard, were you happy? I want us to move on quickly as we look at some of also the athletes. Standard, were you happy mas nawubuka nje?
Standard njengoba ngishilo ngathi cishe nawubuka lendlela lokugijinywa ngayo not happy, but some of my athletes now khuluma nje nge200 there is this young boy Skhanyiso waba number 3 wase correctional. Ngicabanga ukuthi is the most improved athlete nawubuka ukuthi last time abekuphi izinga lakhe legijima, so I'm happy, but I'm worried if our top athlete like bo Lusenga wawini 400 but azange ayithola medal. I'm worried if our top athlete akade ukuthi nasobhalisele lenye event wangayigijimi then lelenye utaba
suspended. It's to discipline, master. I wanted you to to come maybe give me a clear on that, to say it's the spirit of being a sports person. How do you pull out on an event? This is a top athlete on scholarship to represent us international. How do you, maybe at some point, let's look at him as an athlete.
But again, uthini coach wakho lapho noma manager wakho, because yonke invulo yendawo on the day kuthi udlani, kuthi ubehave kanjani kuba ngilo manager wakho noma lo coach wakho. Uthini coach wakho on the day nasothi wena awuyingeneli i200 yet ubhalisile, and coach noma manager wakho kumele athi ukuthi wangangeneli because imithetho yonke ngicabanga sebabanika wangayingeneli inye event lo soyibhalisile uvele suspend. Le ngicabanga ukuthi bona bobabili ngabablame kakhulu. Imagine if le 400 beyimenda ukuthi qualify ayima Olympics, then at disqualify angakhona kuyiwin.
So you think there's an element ukuthi usuke wathi cabangela naye ukuthi if I run 200 ngeke ngikhona ukugijima kahle ku 400.
Vele is a specialist ku 400. Le ngicabanga ukuthi naye vele engcondweni yakhe bekade ibhengele lo 400 because remember ku200 ukhona Sibusiso uyathi ukuthi angamshiya, uyabona utamshiya ngendeka abe number 2 yena. So kule 400 uyathi ukuthi Thandaza akekho, uvele utatendela kule 400. Lengishona ukuthi bekugcina ukuthi angayibhalisele nje vele le 200 sanhlobo abhalisele le 400.
Okay, maybe that's where it starts from, because the issue now says he should have maybe written a formal request to say that he's pulling out and all those details. Now, we're moving on, maybe just to move on the other parts, maybe, Master. What I wanted also to touch on, maybe I wanted us to pick on one or two issues. This is a national event. It's one of the biggest events. But we noted few things, Master, like in terms of equipment. Some of the athletes are dressed, okay, but you can see their clubs, they put them in a good form. Police is written at the front. But we have seen some athletes even running barefooted, Master. Some are even not in a good way. I think that's something maybe Toba also next time will have to answer to us. But what do you think, Master, of that?
More especially for President Ngai starting blocks. Sayisibone internationally. Even ngama Olympics vele la starting blocks vele ahlala lapha phasi. Kude umuntu lo malanga emuva awasimise, but sikubonile mavuso lengicaba ukuthi dinvo leto lekumele ukuthi Athletics Association itinaka, because this event, more especially this footage, itawubukelwa ngonke emuva emhlabeni. So nababona lokwenteka lokho eSwatini ngicabanga ukuthi kusibeka esithombeni lesingasiko kahle. But njengoba ngishilo ngathi ikhona a room of improvement, because le committee lengenile nyalo lelihulwa nguye Zakhele, Mr Zakhele Dlamini. Ngicabanga ukuthi vele le office lelisha, but le tinvo leselitendile tinengakhulu tinhle tiyancomeka. So next year sikasile ukuthi vele lokuhle lokunengi kusesikubona.
Beautiful stuff. Of course, having talked about these national championships for quite some time. Let's move on, Flamin. There was a women program leadership. Now, knowing that Sport Council is working to try to ensure that women have a hand, have involvement, have a say in whatever that happens in sports, they were, being, taught rather, or guided on how to be leaders in the sport fraternity through the support of Sport Council, as you can see from the visuals. Master, we've talked about people being involved in leadership. This is Perry Dlamini, the Boxing Association president, the former Boxing Association president, and she's been, of course, in the picture for quite some time. What do you think we need as a country, Master, to understand the involvement of women in the sport?
I'm happy. I'm very happy in the program because this past weekend beba funso kakhulu like manager sport. Ukuthi nangabe women woman and sport. How do you manage sport? Dinengele tinvo lokufaka bokhathi bu managing self ukuthi manager nje khuluma lemcabanga yakho lo icabangako uyimanage kanjani kuze before uyikhuluma. So ngicabanga ukuthi dinvo leto letita usita ukuthi onke ema ladies la involve ku sports understand ukuthi sport usimanage kanjani. Kungaphe Fabrice this thing kumele kusiphele lokho ukuthi kuthiwe sports athi angeke ngize ngiphathwe ngumfati, angeke kuze ayiphele lento leyo. Ngicabanga ukuthi lama programs lawa after the ladies sekalite by example akhona kumanage kahle sport, then naleti ngcomvuti bantu titawushintsha.
Now, what do they have to say themselves, the women in the sports fraternity, and those who are attended that workshop, rather the training to be taught how to be a leader or a manager in different platforms of the sport industry. Listen to this.
Out of this program, I tend to take out all the skills that I will use to bring change in the association that I am in, to bring change in the world of sport, and to bring change in general. We need to raise awareness about women and the potential and the power that they possess to actually bring change itself into this country.
Okay, mina ikakhulu lengidakhokha noma lengidathatha kule program ngilokwe ukuthi mangiphuma la ngidawukhona ukuchubeka ngembili ngichubeke ngifake isandla ekuphatheni ema sports ngoba isikhathini lesiningi uthola ukuthi bamfula babo babe labaphethe kuma sports nami benginalo lelivalo nakukosa ukuthi maybe ngimele lelikhetho lelithide lema sports kodwa nyalo mangiphuma ngiyathemba ukuthi ngidahamba ngikhona kuyomelela nelikhetho noma ngabe la kusiphi sport.
Okay, so last by any lodge say weekend yes2 sicale last week Saturday sitofunda ngeku empowerishana njengoba lisho leligama la le workshop, it's women leadership program. So sizama ku empowerishana as women sibonile ukuthi in the past ma females are underrepresented either in leadership positions kula ma sporting codes lesikiwo. So we want to change the current state of affairs. Sithi no more vying by men ukuthi nakune position nje mina as a woman ndawukhona kuyimelela le position leyo ngisebenzise ema unique value propositioning picture like my life depends on it nangabe ngikune position lengifuna kuyithatha maybe a secretary general nyalo nje siyathi ukuthi it's towards the end of the year and it's 2020 ma associations atabe ama anima AGMs kuyakhethwa kuma NFs na kuma NOC. So after this workshop siva ngathi we have gained the self-confidence nelwati lokwathi ukuthi mangithatha nayi position nayi ku association or ku leadership I'll be able to do ABC, to manage, to work as a team kuze sikhona ukuthi sigcine siphumelele as women kube nale gender equity.
Okay, le program lena i-facilitated in region 5 for onke emave lapha kwa region 5. So silivele saswatini asikuthi sithi khanze kufanele ukuthi sibe part of yona. Basically yona empowerisha women in sports. Kwekucala sifuna ukuthi sibe na more women labakhona kuma sports. Kwesithu ukuthi for those women already lasebakhona kuma sports ba capacitate in terms of my leadership and management competences. So ke icale emavikini amabili engcile itawuza iphele mhla ka 21 November. Sho singe ama sessions la 4. Kula ma sessions sibuka ekhathi history yebafati Temidlalo, sibuka ekhathi leadership ma competences akhona, management competences. And then evikini lelitako sabe sinalamanye ama facilitators la qhamuka kuma industries la Eswatini sabe sikhulumisa khona indzaba yokuthi ye strategy manager ema finance kanye naletinye nje info letiningi lesabe sikhulumisa evikini lelitako bese sabe sesigcina mhla ka 21 November lapho sabe sibabuyisa khona ukuthi how do you actually plan for an event, but kakhulu you are saying sifuna ukuthi bomake siba capacitate ngemandla ukuthi bakhole ukuthi nakathiwa nje namhla kune position noma kunelikhefu lelikhona bakhona kanjani bomake besifazana kuyoti imelela ekukhulumeni bakhona ukuthi balwine lelo khefu lelo. How do they network with others, how do they lobby for my positions? So kunethi info leti nje besikathi sibabonisa ngakho and siba capacitate kuko.
Now, if you listen to what they are saying, is all about taking position, taking leadership into the sport industry. I mean, Nangbuga Gashe, if I'm not mistaken, that was Pearl Dlamini, the former Boxing Association president. But currently, out of the over 25 or almost 30 that's represented from Techball we have in the country, I think the only association now that is headed by women, it's judo. Until now with Pearl hasn't pulled out. I'm still trying to track down the name, but I think she's it's judo so far. Judo. Nothing else. No other sporting code is headed by a woman right now. It's only judo that is left now. Let me sit down. Are we saying that they don't qualify? Are we saying, because maybe you can look at other positions. Pumuli Denziniza heads Commission of Women in Athletics. You've got other sporting codes where they are secretary general.
But kefa pressing kabagusi batikulmele. Utsite one representative from volleyball. What's most of the time nagahamba ailketwen noma nagdaw phakanyiswe magama beka shall value because lama workshops lawa bebasenga wahambi.
Yes.
Inkumbi yaletindo vele bebase lengicabanga ukuthi inkumbi kuma ladies vele loluvalo belibakhona ukuthi sonke leader sport because because for a very long time kwato ukuthi sport sabo babe so ngicabanga ukuthi lo livalo kubo belivele likhona nabo nangabe bayovota bafike bavotele labo babe so ngicabanga ukuthi inyalo sabathu understand ukuthi let nombolo vele ukuthi ngakho ukuthi tibe tinengi tala ama ladies kulama association noma kulama sports ngihlale ngisho tingqovu letimbili male female tahlangana ngicabanga ukuthi kwakha involve egcinile.
They have it. Now, we know that this is all about women empowerment. What I'm trying to do is to ensure that the sport itself is on a higher note, is up to standard, and everyone is happy. Now, talking about women, there is a specific woman in this kingdom of Eswatini. She needs enough credits, I mean. I think we've talked about high involvement in the sport. Now, golf is on another level. And I think at some point I mentioned that if we're not careful, and at some people we claim her to say she's from that place. We know that she's from here. Nobody tell me now. She recorded a good representation over the weekend during the Investec Swazi Open. It wasn't played here in the country, but in South Africa due to COVID. Master, she walked away with 30,000 again, number 3. I think for her, she's not that much impressed. She feels like she could have maybe won it where she is. I mean, now performance she finishes number 3.
Yes, for Princess Yakumbula, before coming to this tournament, the defending champion because why win the last time. Joba social Royal was open South Africa for the first time ever. South Africa. Fabrice number 3 wahamba nalo 30,000 but kulo 30,000 Fabrice khuluma ukuthi imali lasayiwinile labanenge bangabuka ukuthi wina abo 30,000 ema victories akhe ang7 and kulo 7 so hlanganise imillion emali layiwinile a million.
So kusho ukuthi nobuhle is a million. Ayi ukuthi siyamthengisa ukuthi nangabe vele khona ucabanga ukuthi day yasengimthize maybe angisendele okuncane but sesisho ukuthi since she turned professionally as an athlete she's a millionaire.
That's why ngihlale ngikhala Fabrice ukuthi asithatheni ema sports serious because sport siyakwenda ukuthi ube millionaire, sport siyakwenda ukuthi watiwe emhlabeni, sport siyakwenda ukuthi utigcine uhlale discipline so nobuhle 30,000 plus
Mas ngeke inkinga na udila nabantu kuma sports. I think you'll be attest to that. Bakhuluma ngema facts kakhulu ukuthi kukhona nemfakazi na busemoyeni career prize money over $1 million. I think ngiko ngithi what do we say now? This is sport. Sine kutinza bana le mali yakhe le mali. But what are we saying is that le sportless master golf
and it might happen Fabrice ukuthi ngendeka kube kulala amanye ama sports lesi wa prioritize ukuthi individual ayakhe le mali leyo. Yes, but
M10 Premier League imalini
uthola ukuthi lama individual prizes uthola ukuthi player of the tournament player of the month letinvo letu nowhere near $1 million.
Lamin Asfar, it was nice being with you, and I think it's always a pleasure being in your company. Beautiful comments, and I think keep being you are.
Ngiyabonga Fabrice, unfortunately vele sikhathi sesivumeli Arsenal winile against Manchester United.
The Chiefs winile.
Pirates winile against Kaizer Chiefs. So ngicabanga ukuthi weekend vele imagine nginangabe ufavor Manchester United ufavor Orlando Pirates ukuthi weekend yakho beyibetha kanganani.
You mean Chiefs in Manchester United?
Sorry, Chiefs in Manchester United.
Hey, singake kakhulu ku Chiefs ne Manchester United ne Pirates. There's a lot to say about these athletes locally and what's happening internationally. Otherwise, no bullshit. I mean, udlala kamnanzi. You are a millionaire.